Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Roll for Crit Playback. Today we are going to be discussing and playing a game of Legendary, a Marvel deck building game, as well as
Legendary Villains, the villain version of the Marvel deck building game.
That's exactly right. And in fact, we will be combining cards from both sets as well as all three of the expansions for the base game.
That's a lot of cards.
It's a lot of cards. This is a big one for us. This is one of our favorite games, so it should be fun and exciting to watch, or not. You'll find out right now. I'm Jonathan Estes.
I'm Will Keeler, and this is Playback.
We are joined today by our compatriot and resident Roll for Crit graphic designer, Neil.
Hello.
And today we will be fighting against Nick Fury,
Bum bum bum.
whose scheme will be what? What do we have to do to stop him?
His evil plot for us
Yes.
is he's caging villains in power suppressing cells. There are cops, 2 for each of us.
Happens.
And when a twist comes up, a cop will be placed in front of each of us, and we have to give up one non-gray, so a non-basic hero pretty much,
So the ones that are actually good.
and pretty much and the cop captures them. Now, we don't like that. We like our cards. We want to have them. But you can choose to get the ones that aren't in front of you. So if I put down a card, but Jonathan put down a much better card, I can defeat the cop in front of him and get that hero. If there are no more cops when another twist comes up, we lose, because they captured everyone.
So we don't want that to happen. In order to stop that from happening, we have a strange group of misfits on our side. First, we've got Captain America, and
Who's he leading?
He's going to be leading. It's a different sort of Avengers.
Oh.
It's a weird Avengers. You do have Wolverine on there. This is the X-Force version of the Wolverine card, as well as, you know, the usual Avengers, Magneto, Loki, and Black Suit Spider-Man. So, and I guess, well, sort of. A little.
That's a Avengers 4 plot.
Sure, right.
Yeah.
So Avengers 4, it's gonna be wild.
When they get Spider-Man back under their copyright.
Right. That's the subtitle. We got him back.
So I think whoever saw Guardians of the Galaxy last, which would be, I believe, his third time seeing it.
It will be my 4th time seeing Guardians of the Galaxy.
Why don't you go first then?
That's actually the official ruling in the book, isn't it?
Isn't it if there's a tie, you do have an Ooga Chucka contest?
You have an Ooga Chaka off.
Yes. What awaits?
yeah.
Start off with a command strike.
Well, right out of the gate. So, when Nick Fury demolishes us, we have to reveal the top card of this deck, and it's Spider-Man's rare card, which now we will never see again because it's going to the bottom of the deck. And because it costs 2, each of us now must check if we have a 2 cost and discard it. However, since we just started the game, none of us have that and nothing happens.
I do, because I slipped a couple of your cards in
If
before.
you're cheating, then you have to discard it now. But if you're cheating, then you probably wouldn't have said that. So wow.
Okay, so I have 2 attacks and I have 4 to spend. So I'm guessing I should probably take Captain America.
All right, sounds good. My turn.
Yes. It's a little confusing when you're all in a row. It's like clockwise.
Goons.
Okay, it's
now,
not that confusing.
Not that confusing.
I'm gonna go grab this Spider-Man. And I am going to spend the 4 to defeat the goon.
Congratulations. You made our first kill.
Yay!
Oh, I got a bystander, which means Nick Fury captures her. Nick Fury has now kidnapped Mary Jane. This is, like you said, a weird scenario.
He's gone mad with power.
He really has. I'm gonna take the Loki just because 2 attack will be nice. And that is the end of my turn. Lots of Spider-Man coming out. Sorry,
Spider-Man.
I said Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
Wasp. She's only 1 to defeat. However, she's elusive 7.
that?
This means, in addition to having 1 attack to kill her, I need 7 buying power out and available. Like, I don't need to use it on her, but it just needs to be out there, which is quite annoying.
Yeah, the Avengers enemy group from the villain set is really annoying. Come on, enemy. Okay. It's not an enemy. It's a plot twist. So, since it's our first twist, it's cop time. So I do not have a non-gray.
As do I not.
I have non-grays.
I'm sorry, Neil.
So
You're
what
our
does this
first
mean?
victim. Now, any of us right now, if they defeat that cop, they can take that Spider-Man from you.
If you compare the villain expansion to the legendary, you'll realize you become less friends as the expansions
So-
go on.
Yeah, in a world where Nick Fury is fighting Captain America, things have gone wrong. Actually, it's like the plot of that movie that I just made up.
Is it a command strike?
I blame you.
I did not shuffle this pile. I shuffled this pile.
I do have
Captain America?
It's either Captain America or Spider-Man, and I really don't know which one I should be giving up.
That's your call, man. feel sorry for you. I real feel sorry for you. So Captain America and Spider-Man have been taken in by the police.
But thankfully, Spider-Man's strange cousin who's filling in his place is also available in my hand. I will take this card.
You can't just take it.
I'm buying it because I have 3 buying power.
All right.
But I'm also might be a villain, so I might be stealing it.
All right, it's the Moloids. And when you fight one of these, you gotta KO one of your heroes. And it has the burrow ability. If you fight it anywhere besides the streets, it goes to the streets and doesn't die, and you must kill it again. You could potentially abuse that to KO a bunch of your cards, or you might just want to get rid of it because it's icky.
So why is this card on top of that one?
Because she captured a bystander.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Or rescued, I guess.
Whatever you want to. When you combine them, it becomes very confusing thematically.
You should
And
probably get one of those cops.
I'm going to. I'm gonna get back my Captain America.
Jonathan, I am wrong. When he defeats a cop, he chooses who gets that card.
Maybe.
I'll take it.
Okay.
So this is a game that we've mentioned several times on our regular podcast.
It's almost as if we try to mention it every time we possibly can.
It is one of the ones. It probably, besides a few games like Catan and Munchkin, probably the game that I've played the most amount of times.
Well, I think that both. There's so many times when we're like, who else wants to play? And everyone's like, no. And we're like, okay, just us.
Yeah, we seem to be the two that never get tired of it ever. And everyone else does, which is rare because most games I will get tired.
No, I think we both agree we've reached a point of saturation with Munchkin and Catan.
Oh, I mean that's not even out of the question. But even the games that aren't quite at that point, they'll still be like, oh, we played that last week.
No, there are times like
break.
I played the DC deck building game and I'm like, I'm done for like a week or two.
Yeah,
but this one,
any game we play.
Yeah, but this one, it's like, every time it's like we probably want to play another game after this probably later.
Right now.
In particular because of this match.
Yeah, it went, well, we'll tell you about that later. But that was a little tease, that was a little foreshadowing. So, in case you don't know, and you couldn't tell from the video, this game takes place in the Marvel Universe, so that's definitely one of the big reasons I think it appeals to us so much. Mm-hmm. We're definitely huge fans of the Marvel comics, and one of the great things about the game, well, I think that's almost a point of debate among some people, we could get into it, about how well the game does the theme. In terms of incorporating it into the mechanics.
I mean, we both played many deck building games.
We have, and we should say, sorry, to cut you off, before you watch us to get a base, on I think it's podcast episode number 11, we discuss deck building games in depth in general, so you can watch that to get a little grounding before we dive into this in particular.
Oh, continue where you cut me off. We enjoy the mechanic in general, but what this does, it has that mechanic, but has the story aspect of the heroes as well. Like, because it's co-op against this, whether you're playing the villain or the hero, the commander,
and the
or the mastermind.
Yeah.
You get this feeling you're actually sort of fighting all these guys, and like when you're doing your deck, you're charging yourself up. Well,
I think what some people aren't as into is the fact that you're not, like, it isn't Sentinels of the Multiverse, which is another super generic superhero card game. It's not generic, but it's not licensed, it's original. where you play as one superhero and you feel like you're that hero because your whole deck is that guy's cards.
Right.
Whereas this game is more like you're sort of in control of a bunch of different heroes, and you can like, if you think about it too hard, it doesn't really like, why do I have a Spider-Man and so does he? Like, aspects of Spider-Man?
Well, I was thinking more like it's like all the heroes are already there. Mm-hmm. And you're more playing the attacks, like Spider-Man is attacked, then Thor is attacked, where Spider-Man is attacked again, and again, and again, and again, which I tend to do.
So you have to use a little bit of that to kind of fill it in. But where I do think it really excels in terms of that is the individual cards and how they work like you would think that character's powers would work. So, for example, in today's video, you may have already seen some of Loki from the villains set, who creates a bit of chaos and mischief in multiplayer settings, and you can mess with people's decks and play mind games with them and things like that. Then there's obviously like Doc Ock has 8 arms, so he draws more cards.
I mean, Iron Man's all tech involved. Captain America actually helps with different colors, so it's sort of the uniting force.
Leading his team. One of my, I think maybe my favorite
scheme
thing. No,
not scheme. I mean theme with the character. Yeah,
sort of is Daredevil, who because he's blind and uses his heightened senses to sense things, you have to actually guess how much the top card of your deck costs, and if you're correct, you get to draw it, or you get extra attack or something. So stuff like that, or like Gambit lets you draw more cards.
He did more drawing and then putting them back and stuff.
Yeah, so some of the ways they work those in are really creative, especially because, like we've said on our deck building show, with the deck building thing in general, it can be a little limited. Like, I don't know how, like, it's got to be hard to come up with new things, because after a while, there's only so many ways you can say he gets to draw more cards.
Right.
Like Loki, I think is that's a really new creative thing that they did. So I'm always impressed when they actually manage to do that. Any other favorites
of mine?
Yeah, even besides thematically, and what cards do you enjoy playing?
Well, I'll usually try to grab anything that lets me draw.
Right. Pretty good bet.
I'm trying to think. I have to go over each one in my head. There's a lot of expansions, and we've played
a lot of cards.
And like we said, we played it a lot. So now, I'm going through them very slowly.
I know you like Domino.
I do like the versatility just because it makes it easier.
What does she actually let you do?
You can choose that, like say +2 either to recruit, so buying, or the attack, which is really nice.
Right, you get to choose. Yeah.
And she has one card though that's discard a card, and she gets 4 attack or 4 buying power, depending on what symbols are on it. So if you discard one of her own, she gets both.
Right.
I would say though, one I was just thinking, and then when you asked me about Domino, I started thinking about that.
Ruined it.
Yep. One I really like is Colossus and Hulk. Because like Colossus is all about taking other people's wounds, like, and he gives himself wounds. Like it makes sense with this character. He goes out to help up people.
Right.
Because he's the tank.
Right.
And Hulk, he does not care for anyone. He gives everyone a wound.
Yeah, he's the opposite. He's so strong he can't help it. It's just if he's hitting something, you're getting hurt. You're getting in the way. Yeah, which is pretty funny. That's the other. Well, if you don't know all the systems, you can see our how to play video. But yeah, there's wounds and there's bystanders. There's a lot of decks.
I will say
Please say.
We haven't played it enough. Let's say the villain.
Oh, I was going to say, we've played it enough.
Well, the villain one, because it just came out. We've played, compared to the other ones,
right.
I have not seen every scheme or twist in that.
I've seen a few of them, though, between the two.
No, yes.
We've seen like
it definitely, if you want to play more of a friendly game, we'd just go starting with the original one. But if you want to do more of messing around with each other, definitely the villains. Like we said, Loki, he has one thing where literally you take 2 cards and then you're like, which is the good one?
Well, I think that's tying into a larger issue too, where this game is semi-co-op, where it's a cooperative game, but at the end you
there's a winner.
See who has the most points. Which officially you don't have to play with that. You can ignore the points.
We always do.
We always do it because they're there, so everyone's gonna look anyway. Or you're gonna look and be like, well, I think I won, so I want to say it. But I think that's another. I think that's a tricky line to balance sometimes between, because basically it comes down to, because usually we all start off friendly, but then it's like, how much do you really want to say, oh, I know he's trying to collect the Wolverine cards, and there's a Wolverine there that he'll want, so I'm going to take it just to spite him.
Oh, yeah.
And
No.
I never do that. because I just don't keep track of what other people are doing.
Oh, you mean like that? No. I was talking about, like, are you joking? You took one person's...
If a card specifically, because there are some cards that will say, like, you have to do something to someone else.
I was thinking more...
I'm talking about metagame where you're going out of your way to
I usually don't do that unless it's really necessary, because usually it waters down your deck, so it hurts. I feel like it hurts a lot more.
Depends on what you're going for.
Yeah, I mean, under small situations, it's good because it could just be a good card in general.
Well, and like I know... Like we were talking about Domino, and since the first time you got her and we're just unstoppable.
Yeah.
Now I'm always like, well, I gotta take some of those, because if one person gets all the dominoes, it's just madness.
Well, it happens. Spider-Man's the same way with that, because he's all 2 costing. So, which what happened with me, I got 3 copies of the same card that pretty much lets you draw 2 costing cards. So I pretty much just drew up. I got like 2 hands.
Right. This really happens with all of them, really.
But that one in particular, I feel.
Anytime you are able to combo
you mean
any hero.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always. I mean, that's sort of the thing of the game, is that you start off trying to get your cards, and then by the end you're almost overpowered because you have so much.
Well, I think that works once again with the whole Marvel idea. You know, we all start off. You know, the heroes usually lose a few, and usually they get super strong. And usually, especially if you're Iron Man, you get cocky and want to show off.
Right, yeah, okay, yeah, I can see that. And sometimes you win.
Sometimes the cops outrun you.
So, we actually lost today's game. Which I would say, well, I think one of the people's complaints about the first set was that it was too easy.
Right.
And I would say Dark City, which was the first big expansion, definitely ramped that.
Wasn't also the first expansion?
Yes, it was the first expansion, but it was also the first big expansion. I was technically correct.
I'm just more for my own.
Yes, but also I think Villains, from what we've played so far,
oh yeah, the schemes
ramps it up much more.
Yeah, no, I felt like every time I've played, it's been like by the skin of my teeth, I feel.
Yeah.
If I've won.
And I think part of that, so a big new addition to Villains, which we'll talk about, is probably really the biggest one, is the new recruit cards that you can get during your turn. Anyone can get, they're always available. So it used to be just Maria Hills, now you have new recruits and Madam Hydra. And those new recruits, I think we both agree, are like outstanding.
They're better than some of the heroes, in my opinion. Just because what they do is they cost 2, so they're really easy to get. So you can get multiple. As soon as you play them, they go back and you draw another card, so it's pretty much you get a free attack. So it doesn't water down your deck at all.
Yeah.
It's cheap, so you can get a lot. And I didn't even think about this until I started playing, and you read online.
Right.
If you're having to play with any of the Spider-Man cards, it's unbelievably unfair, because Spider-Man's whole thing is like pretty much look at the top 1 or 2 cards of your deck, and if it's 2 costing, you get it. So pretty much you get those, and you can.
Yeah, it allows you to chain very well. And I think they probably maybe added those to try and offset the difficulty.
I think another reason was just, I mean, beforehand, we both said this. Maria Hill, we almost would rather not buy anything than get her.
Yeah, pretty much we never touched her at all. Like, we might as well just
in the beginning we did, but afterwards we stopped. And like once this came up, we almost will constantly get.
Because you always have like, an extra 2. Oh, I'll get one of those. It doesn't seem bad at all. And definitely just having more options is so much better. It just makes it feel a lot more fresh.
I think what they should have done.
What should they have done?
Well, we've talked about this before Villain came out, so we didn't know about the recruit. Is because in the Dark Cities expansion, they released new bystanders. Before it was just they're all the same card, so no difference. Right. But they released new special ones, so you have to shelf them face down, and when you draw a bystander, you don't know what you're getting. I think they should do that with the Shield agents or Hydrate agent, whatever they choose to keep there, because then it'd be interesting. Like, oh, I could buy that for 3, and maybe I get a Maria Hill, or maybe I get something that like maybe an Agent Coulson. Come on, but like that does something else that's interesting.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Yeah, and I think that's the sort of alludes to the other big reason that I like this game so much and that we've been able to play it so many times is there is tons of variability there. Not even in just the base set, but if you add Dark City onto it,
Oh, you're good. You're good for.
it adds so many cards, and not only the heroes, but the schemes can completely change the way you play.
So you've sleeved every card in this. How many sleeves?
There are altogether, it's something like 1,000.
That's a lot. And
Yeah.
another thing which is impressive, if you think about it, they've already said they're gonna get, like we mentioned earlier in our shows multiple times, the legendary aliens.
Right.
They're gonna get other copyrights.
Which, by the time you watch this, might be out.
Ooh.
Or will be out very soon.
And hopefully we'll be playing it.
Yeah.
But I mean, so that's even more exciting now, because think about this game, which has a good sort of story. Now we can sort of be like, now I can play a version where, like, let's say Xavier is some reason we have to fight Xavier and we're using Captain America, aliens, and Leonardo from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
A little bit of wishful thinking on that one. Yeah, it remains to be seen. We'll have to talk about that in the Alien episode, which I'm sure we'll do at some point, about how well they integrate.
Yes. Well, I think Aliens built a little different, so we won't know. But I feel like if they did other, like, if I said Team Mutant Ninja Turtles as an example.
Yeah, well,
I think that would make more sense. What would be the top 3 other properties you'd want them to get their hands on?
We've talked about this before. There's so
excluding, like, ignore the fact, like, for example, the DC deck building game owned by has gotten certain copyrights.
That would be number 1, really.
Right. So,
I mean, we've talked about Firefly or the Buffy Angel shows, because they have. Both of those have a good base of lots of different characters with interesting different abilities that you could put in. I mean, it seems obvious too, but Star Wars would be great. We've talked about Transformers.
Yeah, that's my number 1, I think, because I feel like there's plenty of characters to pull from, and if you get that universe, you get the Beast War universe, you get the other movie versions. The list goes on and on.
I know when they first showed the Alien, like all they showed was that it was green, and people were like, "Oh, is it Ghostbusters? Is it gonna be
TMT?
Ninja Turtles?" Yeah.
That one would also be good. Ant-Man.
Now, when this game came out, Ant-Man was really powerful, but since they changed directors, this card you just remove it. It's not even part of the game anymore.
I wonder what this card is.
I don't know.
I do.
Oh, okay. Oh, because it's the only one left.
Yes.
So since the streets are full, I'm going to kill this Moloid, KO one of my heroes. And then I am also going to, I'm so sorry, Neil, kill this cop. And I'm sorry to all the police officers who are watching this.
You're defeating the cop, you're not killing him. But who gets a Spider-Man?
Sure. Whatever. Well, it was really Loki doing the work, so he probably killed him.
You feel good about
I
yourself?
feel good about that turn, yeah.
You feel good about it?
I feel pretty good about it.
And it's ambush. He captures 2 bystanders.
It's a Megatar!
Bum, bum, bum.
It's like a centaur, but bigger.
Jonathan.
Oh, here we go.
I take the top 2 cards of his deck.
This is
Now,
Loki.
I look at them, I say one's good and one's bad. Now, for those at home, there are the cards. I'm gonna say this one's good and this one's bad. He chooses one to go in his deck, one not.
Now you said this one's good.
Yes.
And this one's bad.
Yes.
Which means this is like Princess Bride.
To be fair, if you notice, I literally just, as soon as I picked them up and looked, I just said good and bad. I didn't really give them much judgment.
Really, the only way that I can go with this is just always choose a certain hand and then pick it. But then they'll figure that out since I just said that.
If you look closely in the glare of the camera, you can see which card is which.
I know from what I've bought, odds are they're both probably nothing I really care about. I will take this one.
Good choice, my friend.
Indeed it was. Okay, it's Giganto. He also has the Burrow ability. He costs 7 to defeat. Ooh. But he lets you draw 2 extra cards at the end of your turn.
His illustration is interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty wacky. This is looking dangerous over here.
Yeah.
We're kind of fighting to maintain that. That's it for me. That's all she wrote. It's your turn, Neil. You are next.
Okay. Thanks for
That's
having me.
You're Next song.
And then.
So he can actually go
He
after
can go-
Ant-Man, or Wasp, I mean.
Yeah.
Right.
Which you should.
That's what I want to do.
Do it.
Okay, I do it. How do I still have buying power? What do you mean?
You have
You have
7.
a lot from Captain
Oh,
America.
that's true, yeah.
He doesn't even know how good his hand was.
I was just planning on attacking one person.
Now, I'm going to start off by playing Spider Sense Tingling. Reveal the top 2. All cards that cost 2 or less go into my hand. They go into my hand. The second one,
Oh my god.
they go into my hand.
This is what happens when Will plays this game.
Oh
The
my
third one.
gosh. Look at this.
They go into my hand. I will play Wolverine. I draw a card, and he gets more attack. So 8 attack and 4
Oh,
buying
that
power.
hurts, 'cause
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
one
one
off
away.
from Nick Fury.
One away. I'm gonna go for Giganto. I don't know if that's how he sounds.
Oh, Giganto, he's like. The cops hate Spider-Man.
Spider-Man just does not have a good day today.
He rarely does.
There's also a lot of them out in the city today.
It's the Spider Island arc. So,
That means Thor
Bystander.
is guarding a bystander. I
Thor
think I've
is-
used like 6 different words, well, partly because they're, they switch.
you're a
like-
regular Thorsaurus. That's not all. I had another one before you said that. I was going to say he's Asgardian, a bystander.
Can,
And,
What?
I'm sorry, this is the second time in a row I'm going to take, I believe, the same card from you.
yeah.
Yeah, it's the last Spider-Man I have.
No, not anymore. It's not.
See how every game slowly starts
Thank
to
you.
turn into BSG?
I will play Wolverine to draw a card, which I do not have, but also gain 2 attack. Yes, it's one of those. It's a long. I keep getting all 3 of them together.
I know, it's working out for
That Spider Sense is like, holy crud.
you. He is really freaking out. Nick Fury is messing with
I
him.
mean, look at him. It looks like he's like spazzing.
This is Spider-Man's like,
And I'm pretty sure I played enough Instinct Heroes beforehand to get the 2 attack. Actually, all right. So it says play 2, right?
play the top 2 cards of the villain.
Well, we lost.
Wait, did we really lose?
Yep, scheme twist. So
We're so close to winning though.
I'm the only. I can put a cop in. Neither of you can, and then
I can't.
we lose.
This is the worst playback episode ever.
The first playback in which we all lose. But it turned out my greed, all of our greeds, ruined us because we didn't. Because what happens is every time a twist reveals,
Right.
you put everyone has to give a cop back, and then you put a cop out. But the cop pile ran out, and then we lost.
Yeah. We didn't realize we were taking the cops faster than they could be replenished.
Yes.
Which was dumb, and I blame that on us focusing on the filming of it. If we had been in the game, we would have won.
To be fair, a lot of times I feel the one who got ruined most by that was Neil. He just seemed like he would lose his 1 attack card from the cops, like because the cop he'd have like his only attack card would be that colored card. So it was also really shitty luck on his
Bad
part.
luck, yeah.
And in particular, you also taking the best card.
I sort of did take his. To be fair, though, I just took his and left mine out, so it wasn't directly mine.
Yeah, we were already doomed by then.
Yeah, but no, there definitely is some. There are those games where your cards just didn't come out, and at the end you weren't able to kill anything, and you look at your pile and you're like, sometimes you just end up with bad hands and bad draws. So there's definitely
Bad
that can
rolls.
happen. I think the new recruits, like we said in the villains, help offset that a little more. But that can happen, which can happen in most games. But it can be a drag. The one major thing that I want to talk about also before we stop, not that we have to stop right away, but is this game can be played solo, as in one player.
Yes, you've done that a lot more than I
Yeah,
have.
and so there are really no. I mean, I've played a few other board games solo, but this is the only one that I've really like come back to every once in a while, especially if I get a new expansion like the Fantastic Four or Spider-Man came out, and I just got it and there's not game night for another week or whatever. I want to try it out, so I'll try out all this villains and this villain. And this is definitely a game that I think works very well solo. Feels very much like it's a card. Feels kind of like solitaire and can be really challenging as well compared to multiplayer.
Actually, the one time I played it, I did a solo mode right after seeing Winter Soldier, so I tried to make it like thematically with that.
Yeah.
And I barely won. Looking back, I chose like the worst things because like one card would play the deck quicker, so it'd run out faster. But
yeah, that's definitely a thing in solo mode where if you pick the wrong combination, it can be very hard to win, or it might be really easy.
Mm-hmm.
But that's on the opposite end of the spectrum. So, what would you say the sweet spot is for terms of numbers of players?
For this game?
Yeah. No, for
I mean, like,
Monopoly.
right now, with what we've seen with all the cards, I think 3 seems to be the really good, really nice number.
Yeah, for me, 2 or 3, I think work really well. Definitely, I think that's one of the big
issues,
flaws, I suppose, of the game as a whole is that 4, really even 4, but especially 5.
Oh yeah.
It's becomes because it's so much longer before you get to build up your cards, and it's that much harder to win.
Yeah, not only that, it's harder to build up the right cards to do like a good strong combo because when you have 5 people buying everything,
I mean,
you're lucky to get maybe 2 of your hero.
In your first 2 turns, all you have are basic cards.
Mm-hmm.
So in a 3-player game, say, you're waiting for 2 people to go. In a 5-player game, you're waiting for 4 people to go twice before you can even maybe get one of the new cards you bought.
Unless you happen to get like the wall crawl, which is but I mean, even then it's not that great for.
Yeah, so I don't know if there's really a good way for them to alleviate that. I know there's some house rules people have where they'll like take a couple turns for free before drawing any villains.
It's hard, and look, every game faces that.
It's the sweet spot, and that's what it is.
Yeah, and the problem is, I think the problems that are in it are ones that I'd rather just play another game then.
Yeah.
Because it's the idea that the mastermind, the villains work, that they get too strong without you, like being able to become strong enough. Mm-hmm. You can't keep up, and I don't think I want to weaken them.
Right. Yeah.
I think it's like if you want to play it with more people, I think the DC deck building games. That one's perfect. That one actually I think works better the more people you have. Because since nothing really happens to you in between your turn, like, the Master Strikes or this plot twist, you still get a good chance to buy things.
Right.
And the heroes are less, the heroes aren't nearly as tied together. Like, if you got like one Spider-Man, it's not going to really be helpful with you.
Yeah, like you really need those combos.
You need a multiple 2-costing cards, or if you got Iron Man, like didn't get any technology. What if everyone would always buy the technology cards before you got them, or whatever the situation may be? Yeah. But that doesn't happen. So I think sometimes we just have to pick up another game. And luckily, you and I just happen to be the only ones, so we've had a lot of time when it's just the 2 of us.
But for 1 to 3 players, I think it works perfectly. I think it's a lot of fun that way.
And I think we both agree this is definitely a game you should have on your shelf. Like some of the...
Oh yeah, I mean, I really think, I know people say it's similar to Ascension and like but because for the theme, if you like Marvel Comics at all, I think you gotta pick this game. I mean, there's not a better Marvel board game, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, well not even that. I mean, let's look. Marvel movies are not some weird small like cliche. It's like everyone watches them. And if you had someone who's maybe not really into board games or something, like, hey, look, this is a legendary game. We get to play as the Marvel heroes and stuff, and people would be really excited, especially with the villains. I'm sure there's plenty of people like, oh my god, I get to be Loki!
Yeah, they do that too.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Robots.
It's a Loki dance. Look it up on Tumblr.
Okay, well. But, and it's not very difficult to learn. It's not hard to teach at all. It's basically you have attack and you have recruit, and that's pretty much.
And read the card.
Yeah, and read the card.
And though, granted, Loki's probably not one you want to start someone off with. They're a bit more complicated.
As the expansions progressed, the more effects they can add a little more to it.
But people will still enjoy it.
Overall, it's still the same game pretty much.
Usually if you tag something on someone's already interested in, like Marvel Heroes, for example, they're going to try to learn how to use Loki or something. They're not going to be like, okay, I'm a Cylon, I don't know what that is.
So I would say definitely the base set is where you want to start, the regular game. Dark City, I think if you like the base set, is almost a must. The other great thing we didn't even say, the art in the game is fantastic for the most part. One of the things was in the first set, each card had identical artwork, each set. So if there's one Spider-Man drawing on every Spider-Man card. But they changed that in the other sets. Mm-hmm. And it didn't really bother me that much at the time anyway. But Most of the art is really, really well done. It's all original. It's not. They don't just rip it from the comic page or anything. It's all.
Really, none of them, not a single one.
No, they are all originally drawn for this.
Oh,
game.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, which is awesome that they put that much.
And I mean, the villain set. I mean, some of those cards are just amazing.
I love that one Venom card.
Oh yeah, no.
Green Goblin too, and that Hulk card where he's like smiling all weird. That's a good one.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, the Avengers in the villain set. They're they hold their reputation.
As for the 2 smaller expansions, I would say those are more like if you really like the game, pick those up.
Or the hero. Like, for example, you're a Spider-Man fan.
Right. Or yeah, if you just love Spider-Man or Fantastic Four, pick those up. I actually would say, to be honest, I think I liked Fantastic Four a little more than Spider-Man. Although I liked the web crawl ability a lot in Spider-Man, which is where when you buy something, it goes right to the top of your deck instead of your discard pile. But maybe that's because I didn't spend as much time with that. I just really like the way the Fantastic Four kind of work with each other, and I think they were cool. But anyway, what about you? In terms of expansions, which ones would you say definitely or maybe? Or
I would definitely. I feel like you should go for the base, especially if you're planning on playing with people who are not, heavy board gamers.
I mean, I could see starting with villains.
No, I can see, but like, let's say, like the example I said before. Yeah. Let's say you had a friend who really didn't play board games. You're gonna want to do the one that's a little bit, that everyone isn't.
Yeah, I guess if you're even if you're really worried about the difficulty, there are ways even in the original one where you can add stuff to it to make it harder.
But expansion-wise, Dark City, I have to agree because just adding the more complex bystanders.
It doubles the amount of stuff in the first game easily. I mean, it's a really good value.
Also, I never knew Blade was Marvel. Yeah, I did not know until then. Yeah, that was it. But the Spidey set, I feel like some of them were sort of lackluster.
I mean, I don't know. It was just we already had a Spider-Man, and
it's not that.
Just wasn't as exciting.
Yeah. Also, I mean, I'm not as well versed in the Marvel universe as you. I have no idea why Moon Knight is in that set.
They're pals. So why not? They're like, we gotta put him somewhere.
But if you're watching this, I'm assuming it is out by the time this comes out, but they are releasing a Guardians of the Galaxy expansion.
That'll be in October.
And
so at some point you'll be watching this probably, and it will be out.
I don't know about my friend here, but I definitely want to be Groot.
Oh no, I am super excited for that one. I'm probably just gonna play a ton just with that expand. I'm sure we're all gonna want to because we love Guardians of the Galaxy so much.
And it has a huge following, so there's plenty of promos out there if that's your thing too.
Yeah, I know when Villains was first announced, we were a little at least I was. I wanted more heroes.
Yeah,
I wasn't really.
But I feel like that now, you've seen the card abilities, it works well because it's actually much more aggressive, and that's what actually works well. Especially if you take let's say you take the base set, like their stories or something, but you maybe throw some of the more aggressive villains with each other. That way you're all hitting each other still.
Yeah. I still feel like though, I'm looking forward to next year when they get one more big set out for it, just because I feel like there's just a few more heroes that aren't in the game that they really need to cover, like Ant-Man. There's a few X-Men that I don't.
I'm sure they definitely need to make a big X-box. I think the next big box should be assuming it's not another.
Well, since it's going to be coming out after Avengers 2, probably Ant-Man's definitely, and Quicksilver and Scarlet. Or Scarlet Witch is already in it, or no? No, I don't think so. Yeah, so probably they'll be in it anyway. Look forward to all those.
Let us know what you've thought of the game if you played it.
Yeah.
What expansion's your favorite? What do you say is a must? What you could live without?
Is it really that good, or are we just raving fanboy lunatics? Which is a possibility.
What expansions would you like to see? Maybe abilities you think that should be added to the game.
Yeah, things that you think are perhaps overpowered or underpowered, certain characters that you like or dislike.
And how can they let us know, though?
Well, you could do that. Please leave a comment in our YouTube or
right down there.
Yeah, in the YouTube. Or you can send us an email. Our address is rollforcrit@gmail.com.
And of course, there's always Twitter @rollforcrit.
Or our personal email Twitters. I closed my eyes and got confused. Mine is @Quence.
I'm @Dorikiryu.
And @Ivan R. Hahn. There's a fellow back there. You can also, of course, follow Neil, who is in today's episode, and tweets stuff about Roll for Crit sometimes, at Foamy89.
Ask him to draw on things. I'm sure he'll do it.
He'll do it for me. And please, if you liked the sound of it, if you haven't tried Legendary yet, we have them all.
Everything.
Available.
And we'll have the alien one soon too.
We will, if not right now, on our website, rollforcrit.com. We have to try very hard to not date ourselves because these will be on the internet forever.
Yeah.
It's available now, and then asterisk if you are watching this past the date of May 5th. And please like us on Facebook, rollforcrit.com, or facebook.com/rollforcrit. There's all the links for all that social stuff. You can do it. It'll be
And
helpful.
subscribing and everything here
We'd
as
like
well.
it. We just would like
That
it.
would be super.
I think that's it. Definitely recommend from us. Hope you had fun watching us play it, talk about it.
Hopefully you will do better than us.
Hopefully you will do better than us. Rollforcrit.com. I'm Jonathan Estes.
I'm Will Keeler, and this has been Playback.